Greetings, SlyVinyl listeners and everyone else out there. We have a very special podcast today. My name is David Hampton, and I help run SlyVinyl. And wow, we are talking with three Portland legends today. Mike Nesbitt from Little Cloud Records, and Courtney Taylor and Peter Hallstrom from the Dandy Warhols. The main reason why we're here, obviously, Mike and the Dandy Warhols had gotten together and thought it would be a great idea to finally release the notorious Black album, which is a really fascinating time, I'm sure, for a lot of your fan base, just because I'm sure there's a lot of questions about what the hell happened, why were they rejected, were you happy, were you sad, all those feelings, all those stories. So
hopefully we can put some of those stories to rest.
Please do.
We foolishly thought it would be funny to put in our bio for Come Down that the Black album was rejected, when actually we decided to just scrap it and start over again.
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't have the kind of experience we have now either.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know. And it was a truly insane experience recording that. I don't know how many months we were in there, but
just one
incredibly long month. So we had been in there for quite a long time, several years at the time. And we were, having pizzas sent in, and we were sometimes not even walking down the street to our home and sleeping. Mm-hmm. Quite often we weren't. It was a lovely, lovely place that our friend Clark Stiles, who's a great engineer, had he had a serger and could make 40-foot drops of curtains, and so it was gorgeous. He had beautiful antiques and a big dining table and a pinball machine and a major label budget to get food and anything else we wanted sent over, and that probably led to a lot of the problems. But I remember a good couple weeks in, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, there was the industrial skylight above the mixing room that had the square panes like that big. And I think it was maybe the same day or the day before that Clark said, "It's been raining for a long time." And we're like, God, I guess it has, even for Portland, like maybe 3 weeks without even stopping for 1 second, not even thinning. And then it was windy, and a window blew in and water just all over the mixing board. And he had a not a Fairlight, the other Synclavier, which is like $100,000 computer.
Well, it was new. Now it's probably $30 or something.
Yeah, it was, it was Pro Tools, 30 years ago, like Duran Duran, everybody, like these, Sting would have recorded on one. And so it was, wow, that's crazy. So, okay, he's going to clean that up. And
there was a leak too that leaked on my AC30. I remember taking a heat gun and drying it out.
Oh, Lord.
Very old Portland. That is old Portland. So we had walked up to Casa You Betcha to get some lunch in the rain with our, umbrellas or whatever. And so we walked up the numbers. We had never walked down the numbers. We were on 16th or 18th. We were on 18th. And we had never, during this entire 2-3 weeks we've been in there so far, walked down numbers. We had only turned left and gone up to 21st. And we're sitting there, ordered a couple beers, thinking about what the hell we want to eat. And Pete goes, "Geez, look at that. Where on earth is that?" And he points up at the TV, and it's just mayhem, right? It's flooding somewhere in the Midwest.
And there's sandbagging, and it's like
a Red Cross is flying people in, and we're going, "Oh, wow, God, glad we don't live there." And then the orange bar comes up along the bottom, and it says Portland, Oregon. And we're like, "What?" And so And I don't know, somehow we got the info maybe from here,
Probably from the bartender or
that
something.
the river had flooded up to 16th. It was 2 blocks away from the studio. We had no
Holy
clue
cow.
that the river, which is, starts at Front and then goes to First, was up to 16th. And yeah, it was an insane experience. It was
so deep in it. I had no clue.
we were, and we didn't, and that kind of absolute immersion doesn't lead to a lot of real objectivity in the art and the craft itself. It was, we didn't know, we had no idea, we had noises swirling with people walking around sniffing, noises going on, and we're just going, this is great, people are gonna love this is amazing, this is incredible, everybody's gonna know what's going on and they're just gonna love it, and it's so easy on your ears, and it's just, oh my god, this is new, this is the newest thing. It's just ridiculous. And maybe people have done this now, and it is a big deal, and I don't know, and we should have released it, but there was no way anyone was going to believe that was music back then, and certainly no one at Capitol.
No.
And then once we had a break from it, we went out on tour with, I think, Love and Rockets, and we came back, and then of course we listened to it, and we thought, well, that's funny, let's put 3 minutes of it on this compilation, or 1:50 or something, because it's funny. But that was just kind of how it went. I mean, we were doing stupid things, like making the mixes as horrible as we possibly could, as completely absurd and inappropriate volume-wise, things way too quiet, something way too loud, and not in a Beatles way, in a totally comedic, like,
we were just messing with the label. We thought it was funny. We thought that they would think it was funny.
We actually thought they would think it was funny, yes. And they did not think it was funny. No. They didn't. We thought we were so obvious about it that they would get it. And they did not. They were like, Courtney, should we come up there or should we not come up there? And that's what you're doing exactly. Yeah, it was that.
Turn the box down. Okay, turn it off.
I could rock her like a doctor if I found a way to get her off first. I could bone her, a crazy loner, if I found my way to Minnesota.
That was that.
We somehow managed to get the trumpet to feedback, and I don't think that's actually physically possible.
Right, trumpets don't feedback.
No.
Are you talking about the sound, the horn sound on Minnesota, that like real buzzing? Yeah. Maybe I'm just demented, but I really, really love that version.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it's great. It's just exploring how far we could go.
Yeah, immediately, right out of the gate. First time we have a real budget. We have unlimited time in the studio, which we had never had. That's what we did. We wanted to see how far, when does noise become music and when does it not become it? When is it not music and when is it music?
Right.
A good frontier to explore.
I hear a lot of influence on debut records, especially from the late 2000s, like Ty Segal's debut. I hear a lot of the Black Album stuff, like the real crunchy, fuzzy, scuzzy kind of sound, almost bedroom rock, like recorded in a tiny space. And like VOCs as well. A lot of bands now, like Frankie and the Witch Fingers and all these bands, I think that there's like also like presets on their studio like wizardry that makes it sound like more scuzzy. So
they didn't need a major label budget to do that.
Exactly. So, it's funny. The sound of that record actually has sort of come back in quite a way. It's really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there any tracks that stick out from that collection that you love the most? Like I personally love The Wreck, man. That song is so freaking
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
man.
We did choose to not put that on this version though.
Okay. Well, hey, I love all the others
Just
too.
because, you know, it's licensing it or whatever we would have to do. I don't know.
Well, it just wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
It takes up an entire side.
We'll do an additional 7-inch and you have to turn it over to hear the rest. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No one wants to do that. Not these days.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What tracks stick out? I mean, is there anything out there that you're like, man, that actually
Well,
sounds
CCR's on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That used to be kind of a huge part of our sound, was doing, you know, just fucked up 60s,
With that.
you know, Kingsman, you know, that kind of thing.
What was it? Is it called Twist?
Oh, yeah.
That one. Do you remember we used to start when we played that live? We used to start it with the Jonestown song. The I Turned to Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
that's a sick
right.
song. That's hilarious. Aren't the Kingsmen from Portland too? They're a Portland band, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. The Sonics and the Kingsmen had interchangeable members. The Sonics were from Tacoma.
Yeah.
And so it was basically the two forgotten armpit towns of the I-5 corridor of the West. And, you know, they basically, I don't know if they invented that sound, but they certainly like etched it in stone forever.
Oh yeah.
Those two bands, you know, Have Love Will Travel and Louie Louie are a thing. And pretty much almost everything both of those bands did is that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know of any bands that did it quite exactly that sound, which is a easily imitatable sound, and a lot of people still do it. And you don't go, oh, that sounds like the Standells or anybody else from back then. You go, that sounds like the Sonics, and that sounds like the Kingsmen. You know, I think they are the two archetypal, you know, 1959 proto-punk garage
For
band,
sure.
for sure.
Mhm.
It was incredible sounding stuff they did. We had for several records, we would rent the single knob compressor that Louie Louie was recorded. The whole thing was recorded through one old GE compressor, and it was a beautiful sounding piece of gear. And we put the rub off sticker letters LOU, and that was Lou. And we would do, and I think Tom has it probably.
I think he sold it.
Probably sold it to somebody who doesn't appreciate it. They just
Damn it.
show their friends. That's what Louie Louie were. And they don't even, that's the kind of people that, you know, buy.
Yeah,
By
that's the
that-
people that get that stuff.
That's the people can afford that stuff.
For sure.
You know.
I'm sure you've probably been asked this before, but was there any camaraderie like in Portland in those days? Did you have a group of other bands that you enjoyed like touring? Like, yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah, Swoon 23 in particular.
Mhm. And we were friends with Sugar Boom and KG friends with Sown. They were very creative and good. Yeah, they were just any of the fringe sort of.
Who was Polly playing with then back then? Because
I was he in Anzio Bridgehead?
I don't know.
Two drummers.
I don't know, but he was.
Anzio Bridgehead.
What was the punk rock DD?
Cool.
What was her band back then?
The DDs?
No, Addicted, right?
A Dick did.
Yeah.
A Dick did.
Oh, I see.
Right. That was
They're going places.
Very clever.
that was this chick Dee Dee, and she had a make-believe band called the Dee Dees, and it was a dildo, and she just had shirts, and we used to say, if you fuck Dee Dee, you get a free t-shirt.
Oh,
Because a
God,
few
great.
guys in bands had that shirt.
It's beautiful.
That was cool. She was hot
Of course.
and punk as fuck. She was cool.
She was at a couple of the sessions for the Black Album. She was back there a couple nights.
That's right.
We had a fun punk rock jam one night.
That's right. And she said I was a pussy I was half chick, half alien.
That's what that song was, Alien. That's
yeah. And that I should have a truck and become a man or something like that. She was good fun. Oh, Dee Dee.
I don't know. Like, was it a big studio thing, or was it like a state of mind that y'all had to re-record some of the songs to make Come Down? Like, what really changed?
We just felt like we needed to start again.
We were. I was lost. I could not hear anything. I couldn't hear anything. I didn't. It was. What is this? I don't even know.
We went back to the studio. We recorded the first record with the same engineer, and just kind of went to something we knew. We figured.
Yeah, Tony Lash, really good, really exceptionally good engineer, and ended up. Yeah, I think he just became a psychologist.
Yeah, there were more songs too written.
Right. Because we were on tour, and then songs come to me.
Yeah.
Act like a dick in social situations, and then have to write a song about it to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
Harvesting my regrets. The Mercer has a James Mercer quote.
Oh boy.
Like, where do you get your, I remember, stunning. It's just how his mind works. He goes, where do I get my songs from? I don't remember who asked him, but he goes, harvesting my regrets.
Wow.
Yeah, that guy is talented. I don't know. He's just a freak. He's amazing. Super talented.
The style of the records through the years I've been really impressed with how you guys have kept that dandy thing, but you've been able to just branch out to all kinds of different genres. I really love High Life on. It's such a fun one. I mean, I love how you guys kind of do the country thing. I'm down here in Texas, so I love it when a band can give it a new, a little smear of snarl.
We're not good enough to actually do country right.
Yeah,
well, that's perfect, man.
High Life is about as good as close as we've ever gotten.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, about the Paul McCartney, Rick Rubin thing, where he would just play George and John's parts, and it's like, oh, that's a rock and roll song, a classic 50s rock and roll song. Then you bring in Paul's bouncing, what ultimately became shoegazer and Britpop, Happy Mondays and Stone Roses bass lines. His thing really became that. And then if Ringo was being extra creative, then it's like, wow, they have just taken a Chuck Berry song, slowed it down, and made something that you have never heard before. And it is dressing it up. So that's what you do with country. You dress it up and you glitch it. Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, just tired.
Speaking of Britpop, I mean, the way I was introduced to you guys was a friend said there's this Britpop band I want you to hear. Like, did a lot of people confuse you guys with Britpop bands in those days?
That was
Rolling Stone said the greatest British band to come from America.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
That was like a quote that was all over Come Down, I think, right? Come Down.
The label loved it.
Yeah, they ran with that one.
Yeah.
We just didn't. That's the closest category we could be squeezed into. I think.
you really had to do that back then. I mean, way more than you do now. You had to fit into a pre-existing genre, and labels had to do that just because how else were they going to get a leg up to even get started? You know, they've got to convince all the people at the label. They've got to convince radio. They've got to convince distribution. They've got to convince the actual people that are at the record stores selling it.
Yeah.
To, you know, to help out and know what to say and whatever. So yeah, it was a lot more, you know, that was just a helpful formula. I felt like we sounded like like if Neil Young had moved to Manchester in '88, you know, I mean, we felt like that's kind of what we were.
I mean,
Rolling Stone should have gone with that. I really like
most of what we were listening to was English then, because there wasn't much like really.
What were we going to listen to? The Chili Peppers or something? You know, there wasn't the American. Yeah, there wasn't an American scene with harmonies, vintage guitars.
No,
you know.
There were two bands that I loved that I thought were near Portland that just never quite made it. There was a band called Imperial Drag. Do you remember them?
Of course.
They were not from Portland.
They were San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah. And then there was another group called Thin Lizard Dawn. I don't know if you recall those guys.
Thin Lizard Dawn was New York, and he moved to Nashville.
Okay.
Greg and I, when he lived in New York, I had a really mean girlfriend, and one day I walked out after dinner when she was
really mean girlfriends.
she was browbeating me. So I walked down to my friend's house, and Greg was living upstairs from my friend, and they both had these giant lofts down on the Bowery. And so he and I made about half of a record, Simon and Garfunkel cover record while I was there during that week, just because we had nothing to do all day.
When was that?
Until you go out and figure out where you can get free drinks.
Right.
And I think Greg still probably has it. I'm not a guy who really understands how to sing harmonies. And so he just got frustrated that I had to be the singer. And
that's hilarious.
Guy. I got to be Simon and he had to be Garfunkel. So he pooped out on that project.
Oh my gosh.
Really talented though. He was great. God, he was a good producer. Wow.
Yeah, I know he produced Albert Hammond's first record, Albert Hammond Jr. What an awesome album that is. I love it. The cool thing about the Dandies, at least because, you know, I discovered Gel when I was in a junior, senior in high school, and then into college when the Strokes and the Stripes and the Vines came out. But it never felt, even though there were all these different scenes, the New York scene, and then there was the Seattle scene, Brit pop, I never felt like the Dandy Warhols ever fit perfectly into any of those scenes. You were kind of always your own thing. And I feel like that's really added to the longevity of the group. Because if you think about a band called like the Mooney Suzuki, which are amazing, or the Vines, that they were so short-lived because they were lumped in so hard into that culture, into that scene.
Yeah.
So
that could also be, you know, the part of it where we're just the armpit of the I-5 corridor. We just don't fit in. You know, we don't fit in anywhere. It's becoming a problem, actually, just on a local political scene that we are just this weird armpit that then, of course, got way overexposed and overblown and crowded with a certain kind of person and people that think they're mavericks, you know, like mall shopper TV watchers that saw Portlandia and that is the place for me. A person like me, a maverick like me. Oh, that's my kind of place. And so we've got, you know, political disinformation, uninformed problems. But I think during the, you know, the heyday and glory days of the city, when it was a quarter empty, and we could, you know, rent a warehouse space or a
warehouse space downtown, like in the middle of downtown.
God, yeah,
right.
For nothing, for
$1,000 a month, or even early, like we did a little after 2000, early 2000s, we ended up in like a a startup computer whole business. They just walked out. And, that means a lot of little rooms that we could, sonically create our own spaces in there. And so they all sounded different. Sonic environments are hugely important in making, deep sounding records, which is a lost art in the sense that people are really good at just doing it all in a laptop or, all digital now. And there's great things like that, but that's also minimalism by necessity, just because of the limitations of the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So the old school thing is sonic environments, compression or lack of compression, gates and things like that, and making more complex harmonics happen because a room is shaped thusly, which we didn't actually know when we made the Black album. We were just we didn't have any idea why Clark's even putting that mic instead of that mic.
I didn't even really pay any attention to that.
No.
Foolishly.
Yeah, live and learn. But yeah, thank you for noticing that we do feel like a bit of a unicorn,
For sure.
We never were good enough to really imitate anyone well.
That's the key, I think. Well,
Or easily.
Yeah.
I know that the era of your career where you were really starting to take off in the 2000s, that was probably the wildest era. But I mean, do you look back on that Black Album era with fondness? Like, which era of your career do you look back most and go, man, like that was really
that was it.
Yeah, up through the touring of 13 Tales, before Bohemian became a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
Anything earlier than that, it's like there's an innocence that was lost. Just expectations, everything changed. So
we were a band for enlightened, artsy, young, vibey people.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have a hit, a bona fide international big hit, even if it does change the entire popular culture a bit for the Western world, which that did. I mean, you didn't really hear about Limp Bizkit after 13 Tales came out. That thing came out, it sold a hell of a lot of records. It was the first of its kind on a major label to do that. And that was when the Strokes, and that was in the Jet and the Vines and everybody got moved on to major labels, and they started throwing it out and see what stuck. And you get these great artists like Jack White and the Strokes, and all of those bands are great.
Mm-hmm.
And so they stuck, and they did it. But that will take the fun out of right the fuck out. You don't get to. I mean, we would sit at the front of the stage, in Detroit, and just go, "Hey, do you guys know each other? Cool. Okay, we'll meet. And who's got cars? And then what bars are open? And we want the kind of bar that has Maggie May on the jukebox. I mean it, and like, okay, great. And then you go party. But once you're big, you've got, sycophantic, freaky people that only show up because it's something famous in town. And whether it's in Amsterdam or St. Louis, they're just, they're not the people you want to hang out with. They're not artsy people. They're kind of, a great number of just people going to what you're supposed to go to just for something to do. And then their friend goes, "Oh, we can wait around backstage and meet them." So then that is now roped off, and you're guarded and head back. Otherwise, because they're too weird. They're just too weird. And so you just get led straight from backstage to the bus, or you go straight into a car, into the hotel, you know, and you just sign a couple things, and like, it's just a different vibe. And that was it. So after that happened, it wasn't the same. It wasn't us and our people all over the world. Later, it became us and our people all over the world again.
Right.
But
once the dust settled, yeah,
absolutely. Once we had done our arc and had our peak and just became another band that was big, then it settles down, and like now it's really fun again. But we're also older, and it's not wild anymore. No. Like it's you know, like, oh, this Michelin starred chef has invited us to his restaurant, you know, like awesome. And he's
that
gonna let us
great.
And he's gonna let me bring my own wine. Like that's what we do now. We don't God, it was really something. It was chemically and sexually and comically extreme. It was so fun. It was great. And we all survived. No one face planted, bottomed out in rehab or anything. We all pulled up short of just being losers,
Pulled up short of permanent damage.
I love Peter's like one-liners in here. This is great. Mike, do you want to talk about, I mean, I want to plug this record. So I'd love to talk about different details about it, whatever you want to talk about.
I'm just happy to be putting it out on vinyl. It's an honor for me, but it's funny. You guys were talking about that flood, and I literally got a notification on my phone that says there's a flood warning for this weekend. So maybe you guys should bring it back.
This is below 16th.
Yeah.
We're in the same neighborhood and we are below 16th. So hopefully
bring some of that rain down to Austin, man. Never get any of that stuff.
Done.
It's funny. People say that Portland and Austin have a strange rivalry. I never got that. When you come down to Austin, does it feel like home?
Well, it's a desert. It's not a desert here.
Right. That's true.
But in the old days when cities weren't cool, these were the two cool cities.
Right.
I the first time we went to Austin, I expected it to be more like Portland. It's different. It's very different, but there's definitely it's a cool city.
Yeah, it's great. We always had a great time.
Yeah, always
wild crowds, super sexy and physical and sweaty, and
man, it was just it's very surreal over the last year and a half. Like the clubs are really struggling, but I think it's kind of getting back to normal. I hope it is in Portland too. I don't know if shows are really happening a lot, but I know y'all went and saw the Black Angels last night. Some of y'all did, but
yeah. Speaking of Austin,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got a couple of cool. You got Rocky Erickson. Got a few.
Yeah, the Angels are lovely people.
Yeah. Did y'all ever do? I don't recall. Did y'all do Levitation ever, or the Austin Psych Fest? That's right.
We did. I can't remember.
Us in the Jonestown, we each headlined one of the nights.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they were there on our night, so we had them on and did one of their songs.
Oh, that's fun.
The one that we always do with them. We never really actually know what we're doing. We always kind of screw it up, Right. And that particular version got videotaped quite a bit and commented how bad we played it.
Hey man,
hey, to be fair, it's like I have never been told how that song goes. I am purely winging it every single time. Like I'm watching Anton trying to follow his hands.
Yeah, me too. And Matt, I'm probably following Matt Hollywood.
There you go.
So that's why if you see me going like that a lot, that isn't even part of the song. Jeez, what was I thinking?
I wanted to mention this. It's vinyl related, but I read and I was so pumped about it that the Stubbs the Zombie soundtrack is getting released on vinyl for Record Store Day this year.
Would
Oh,
you
cool.
dream?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
cool.
and
That's an amazing sounding recording.
it is, man, and I absolutely love it, and that's going to be on wax. So I'm pumped. I don't even know if it's going to just be online or in stores, but look out for that in Portland. I'm sure there'll be some around. You'll probably be sent copies, I'm sure.
I should hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great.
How did you get that vocal sound? I mean, I don't want you to give secrets away, but that sounds so
Gotta be
good.
just EQ, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, probably best guess scenario, I would say rolled off the high end, rolled off the low end, cranked up 1200 hertz and slammed it into a Blackface 1176.
But what was that plugin? That Bomb Factory plugin, the Cosmonaut?
Oh, it might just
It might just
straight
be the
up
Cosmonaut.
be the Cosmonaut. Or it's the Cosmonaut, yeah.
The
Yeah.
I
Cosmonaut.
love that thing.
Right. Oh yes, because remember
You
it would
you
when
get
it ended and it gated off it would go or
depending on the setting. You could turn that off, but
no, you can't turn it off. We would
Oh, right, we would
record it
just cut
over,
it.
we would bounce it over to another track and then
edit
chop
that, yeah.
whatever sound it was ending with, we would just chop it off.
Oh, that's great.
I miss
So
that plugin.
God, I miss that plug. That was really good. Oh, good one.
the auditorium, I think for one of your latest music videos, that 360 video, that's all auditorium, right?
Yeah.
Are y'all actually hosting shows and stuff yet? Like inside? Not yet. No.
We don't really do shows. We do events. I mean, I'll have an event in the big room that's like a fundraiser for the Oregon Ballet Symphony. I'm not going to have like rock shows and people tagging my columns.
Right. I mean, I'm assuming that it's just the whole process is infinitely easier when you can do all this in your own space. Or I don't know.
Different problems. Again, objectivity, which is the artist's greatest tool, and that goes away pretty much with immersion. But we've been doing it for so long. I think we're better. Every room in this building has a different lighting, has a different shape, a different vibe. We have different music going on in different rooms. So if you smoke a massive bong rip and sit in that room listening to the jazz station for a while, and Dizzy Gillespie and then Astor Gilberto, Stan Getz and whatever, then you go in the kitchen and there's like the little box, it would be in there, maybe with the soul station on or something. By the time you get back into this room, that's about as close as you're going to ever get to having never heard before a song that you've been working on for 6 months. Right. So
right.
We have
or
tools. Yeah. Hell of a nice studio, man.
Yeah. Cool. Is it actually like a open, because I've never been to Portland, and that's something I'm looking to change, but can people just walk by and come in, or is it sort of closed off? Because I know, right, you have like
there's a wine bar in the front,
right?
That's a wine bar, but the studio is all locked off.
Yeah.
The other, I don't know, 9,347 square feet not open to the public, definitely.
Yeah, good idea. Do young bands ever ask y'all for advice on what they're supposed to do as a young band since you guys made it?
All the time. I just had Jared Artaud asking me some publishing advice, or quite often, and I my answer is always the same: I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. And hopefully I have examples of other people who do know.
Right.
I know it can be done because the singer for Nightclub does it, but she used to work for Cobalt, so she knows how to do it. And it's like, if you can figure it out, you do it. Maybe you need to get a job with a publishing company and just find, or meet somebody there and like figure it out. But yeah, I don't know how to get online and start tracking down royalties from Timbuktu.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Sounds like the worst part of the music business to me. Not for me.
Yeah. But they'll, I mean, nobody's unhappy about paying for music that they want in their show or on their radio station or their podcast or whatever. They'll pay up. They expect to, generally. So I think the globalization of culture has made it, more possible to get what you're owed for anyone. But the problem is what you're owed is pathetically small and a fraction of what it used to be.
We'll just say vinyl sales were good last year.
Yes, vinyl sales were great.
They're amazing.
You guys are rolling in the dough.
Somebody is.
Somebody's rolling.
I did good last year.
Somebody's
rolling. Mike over here. Yeah, he's rolling.
The records are actually being pressed tomorrow, so I will have them.
Oh, hallelujah!
By Monday.
Wow,
so
that's so cool.
And you've still got the same cover of the pushing the glove and the greased all four.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
pushing the glove, make it. The Black Album. You should have seen what we were.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to Spinal Tap. Always, no matter how many decades. Just have to go back to Spinal Tap.
None more black, my friends.
Good.
Mike, do you want to talk at all about like quantity or sort of like color, like the colorways? Like, what is it going to look like? The vinyl? People love pretty colors. 500
total being pressed. 250 will be just a black vinyl. How about that? And then the other 250 will be a clear with black splatter. So
I'm gonna get one of those.
Okay,
good move.
Yeah. And again,
what weight? What gauge?
Like 150, 160, depends, like right in there. So it's not 180 because it doesn't really fucking matter.
But close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we get to the bottom of that? Should we just finally seal that rumor off that 180 gram is the ultimate? I mean, is it just a rumor that it's not better?
It's not better.
There it is. I never knew.
I mean, it's I think opinion, but I've never had a 180 gram record where I was like, man, this fucking sounds way better. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I beat like two records, like the 180 and the whatever, the
170.
175 gram is really close. It's really good. Where all can you get this, Mike? Where all can you buy it?
The Little Cloud Records site for US, and then I guess the Dandy Warhols European site or store. So we're still kind of getting that lined up. So
cool.
There might be a t-shirt part of the package too. We might be doing something like that.
What color would that be?
Oh, it would probably be black.
Oh, very interesting.
Great.
We're running with that theme.
I like it. That's that's just good art design direction. Art direct the hell out of this one, you guys.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton else prepared for you guys. Do y'all have any other stories you want to share? Or are we
No, I'm starving. I want to go home and have dinner.
Yeah, man, for sure.
The main story is that the flood.
That is.
It really is. It sets the well. I mean, I guess part of it is that Eric and Zia stopped coming down too. which is
really
seems to be what we're reliving at the moment.
Yeah, I see a pattern.
Right.
Circles with cycles.
Well,
Yeah.
we should name the podcast Dandy Warhols Barely Escape Out Alive from the Flood.
Barely
96.
escape with their lives.
Perfect.
Like it.
That's gonna get yourself some clicks, my friends.
Serious.
The
click
Dandy
right there.
Warhols had to swim for it.
I got to tell you a joke because I mean, my friend will get mad at me, but he said a long time ago he wanted to start a cover band of the Dandy Warhols, but change all the lyrics to time travel and call it the Dandy Wormholes. So there you go.
I like it.
Not bad.
Not
Zach's
bad.
going to be really, really pleased that y'all enjoyed that.
It was way cleverer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll have to end on that note then. Guys, really, really an honor. I'm really honestly just a fan, and I really appreciate you talking to me and Mike about all this stuff. It's wonderful. Love it.
Cool. Thanks for your time and,
Yeah.
and being interested, man.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned. Black Friday. This record will be out and about, and get your F5 refreshing fingers ready and buy a copy. I'm sure they won't last long, so get on it. And that wraps it up. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Bye. Thanks so much, guys.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Ciao, ciao.